What's up, traders? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and this is Phase 3. Now, today we're going to be talking about first red day signals and first green day signals. Now, I believe that these signals are the most powerful signals to use if you use them correctly. Now, before we start, I have a free Discord where I basically interact with you guys and answer questions. Now, if you want full access to trade breakdowns and one-on-one sessions, I offer those separately. So the links are in my bio. Now, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so with the first red day, you're looking for a day that closes below the open. All right, it's going to close below the open, and then it's on the day, it's going to fake out buyers at a weekly level. That's super important. You guys need to be at weekly levels to take these trades. So it's a fake out for buyers at a weekly level and then a close below the open. All right, the next day, you will get your setup. If you're a seller, you're looking for the pump coil dump or the trap and shift. These will happen at the previous high of day or the current high of day. All right. So those are the levels that you want to look at these trades, right? So if you are taking first green day signals, then you're looking for a day where they will fake out sellers and then trade and close above the open. All right. So that's what that is. It is a sell trap, right? The next day, you're looking for a dump coil pump or a trap and shift, and it will be at a previous low of day or a current low of day. All right. So when I'm looking at these signals, I'm usually looking at structure on the 1 hour time frame, right? So usually it'll look something like this, right? Just on a broader scale. But if we dive in and look closely, if these are weak separators, right? Then we're looking for these trades off of weekly low levels. If you're looking for first green days, they're going to be at weekly low levels. They are going to fake out sellers and then continue in that direction for days, all the way up until you get another signal. All right. So if you're looking for first green day setups, then you're looking for them at weekly level lows. All right. And you're taking the trade, no hesitation, because you know what you want to see and you understand market structure. All right. So first red day, same thing, just reversed. You're looking for them at weekly high levels. Weekly high levels. You want to see them fake out buyers at a weekly level and then proceed in the direction of that bias. All right. 4 days. That's why they're so powerful. All right. They're directional bias signals. So my rules are very, very simple. The first rule that I really, it's so consistent. All right. It doesn't have to happen, but it is very probable. You need a close and breakout the day before. If you're looking on your charts, say you're looking on your charts and you see a first red day signal, right? The next day, I'm sorry. When you see that first red day signal, the day before needs to be a close and breakout. All right. So that's rule number one. Rule number two is that you need the signal, obviously. So you'll have the close and breakout. Then the next day you'll have your signal. And then the next day you're taking your trade. All right. So that brings us to step 3, which is look for the setup. Now, if you're a buy trader, like I always say, then you're looking for the dump coil pump or the trap and shift V bottom. And you want to see higher highs in the inside, right? Now, if you're a sell trader, then you're looking for the pump coil dump or the trap and shift. Remember, at weekly levels, so it's going to be a top trap and shift, right? At a weekly level. And the next day, it's going to give you your setup and you're looking for lower lows in the inside. That's super important. So now let me show you what that looks like in the live market. All right, guys. So now we're in the live markets and this is the 1 hour time frame. Remember, I like to do my analysis on the 1 hour time frame. All right. So we're in the beginning of the month of December, right? And on Tuesday, the beginning of December, right, we get a first green day, which is a day that closes above the open. All right. So what is our criteria? We get the closing breakout the day before, right? We have the trapped sellers, and now it's closed above the open. So now what are we looking for the next day? We're either looking for a dump coil pump or a trap and shift. All right. That's key. So we got the closing breakout to the downside. We have trapped sellers and have closed above the open. We have a first green day, signal day. What are we looking for on the day? Trap and shift or pump and dump. All right. This trap and shift started at our equity hour. It's 9 a.m. on this candle. Remember, I told you I don't get in on the 9 a.m. candles. It just has a lot of manipulation there. So I usually wait for 10 a.m. to take my trades. And then after you're above the EMA, you just ride it out to the close of the day or to a level. All right. So let's move on. Now we have a first red day here, same week at the high of the week. All right. So what is the first red day? A day that closes below the open, right? What is our criteria? We have the closing breakouts to the upside. We have buyers trapped. First red day, close below the open. What do we want to see on the day? Pump, coil, dump. Now, this is a special case, right? Because this was actually a 2-day setup, right? So it pumped at the start of our New York session at to the previous high of day, but then it starts to coil. It starts to coil until the close of that day, right? So Monday, the market opens back up, right? And we're still coiling, and then it starts to dump. Sometimes that'll happen, guys. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking this trade, right? We're going to take these trades because you don't know what price is going to do. So if I was looking at this and I saw the pump, we're at a level, all right, on a lower time frame, you probably see a coil there. Why? Because this is a pin hammer, and anytime you see big wicks, it's structure on a lower time frame. So this was a trade, but it's not a good trade. It wasn't a good trade because you didn't even get to a level. You weren't able to take profit at a level. And so you would have capped out on small profits there. But if you really take a look at this, you have the closing breakouts to the upside. You have the first red day that closed below the open. The next day, you get your pump, you get the coil on a lower time frame, and you get the dump, right? It's just not perfect. But if you zoom out, it's the pump, the coil, and to the next day, and then the dump, right? So that's the point, guys. You just have to be due diligent. You're going to find trades, a lot of trades. You're going to win them and you're going to lose them. But if you're not okay with losing, then you don't deserve to win. All right. So remember, like I told you, when you get the first green day and the first red day signals, you usually can trade in that direction until you get an opposite signal. Then you're trading in that direction until you get an opposite signal, which is the first green day. All right. And where is this first green day? At the low of this week. So we were just looking at the first red day from the previous week. Now we're on a new week and we get a first green day signal at the low of this week, right? So do we have our criteria? We have the closing breakout the previous day. We have that. Now are sellers being trapped? Yes, because we get a breakout and then a false break, right? And then we get a close above the open. That's a signal day, first green day. What are we looking for the next day? We're looking for a dump, coil, pump. All right. So you were able to take profit right at the high of the week. All right. But if you were really confident in this trade, you could have held till the next day. Actually, I'm sorry, guys. That wasn't even supposed to be there. But, anyways, so you get your closing breakout, you get the coil, right? And then you get the sellers being trapped, the breakout, and then the false break. Now it's closed as the first green day on Wednesday. What are you looking for the next day? dump, coil at the low of the current day. The low of the current day. It's not at the previous low of day. It's at the low of the current day. All right. So you just have to know what you're looking for. So you get the dump, you get the coil. London has put in higher highs, and then you get the pump. All right. So you could have held till the close of that day. So let's continue. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Zoom in a little bit. All right. So continuing on that Friday, the next day, you get a first red day signal at the high of the week. All right. So what do we have? We have a closing breakout to the upside. We have the coil, and then we have the fake out. Well, it's actually broken out of that high that was put in from the previous day and then reversed back inside. False break, right? A day that closes below the open, first red day, signal day. What are we looking for the next day? We're looking for pump, coil, dump, guys. And then I told you these signals are so powerful. After you get that first red day and you take that trade, as long as it's not breaching previous day levels, previous high levels, you're in the money. These are directional bias trades until you get an opposite directional bias signal, first green day. Now let's look at this one. All right. We get a first green day at the low of the week. This is next week. This is Friday. We get a low at the, we get a first green day at the low of the week, a day that closes above the open, right? Now, what did the previous day do? The previous day did not close in breakout. So like I said, there will be some scenarios where it does not close in breakout. All right. So just be mindful of that. But this is still a first green day. A first green day is a day that closes above the open. That does not take away from it being a first green day. All right. So like I said, you just have to do your due diligence, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not comfortable with taking first green day trades or trusting a first green day trade if the day didn't close and break out before. But that does not mean that first green day trade will not play out. It's what you're comfortable with, what you look for. Once you start to have a certain lingo to these markets, you're going to know exactly what you're comfortable with. All right. So like I said, no close and breakout the previous day before, but we do get the first green day signal at the low of the week. We do get the fake out at the low of the week, trapping sellers. All right. So first green day, what are we looking for the next day? Now, next week, Monday, what do we get? We get a coil. Coil. All right. Then it starts to break out of that coil and immediately reverse up. We have a trap and shift at the low of the current day. The low of the current day, and you could have taken the trade once you got that bullish close. Actually, let's zoom in. Let's follow our criteria. We're still on the 1 hour time frame. And guys, I've been on the 1 hour time frame this whole time because I want you to see that it does not matter what time frame you're on. It does not matter. All right. Whatever you're comfortable with. So we get the start of the New York Equity Hour, which is 8 a.m. This is 9 a.m. All right. Remember, I told you I like to take trades after the 9 a.m. candle closes. All right. So the 9 a.m. candle closes here where my dashed horizontal line is. So 10 a.m. opens here, right? So if we go on a lower time frame, you could have either taken the trap and shift at the low of the current day, or as you can see, this long week is just structure on a lower time frame. It pumped up, pump. All right. It's broken a previous, it's broken a level. Now it's dumping. All right. Remember, I told you this wick is structural on a lower time frame. So if we was to go to a 15-minute time frame, you would see a pump and a dump. All right. And then you could have taken your entry at the 10 a.m. candle. Okay. So this is nothing but just a higher high, higher low, higher high, and continuation. All right. So that's what that trade looks like from that first green day. And like I said, these are directional bias signals. So it keeps going all the way up until you get a first red day signal. Now we're in the current market. All right. We haven't actually, this actually looks like a first red day signal here. Yes, we have a close and breakout Wednesday. All right. So we got a day that closes below the open. Very close, but it did close below the open. So I would be looking at US 30 on Monday. That's just me. I would be looking at US 30 on Monday. All right. So that is what I wanted to show you guys. It is really simple. Let me zoom out so you can see this. All we're doing, guys, is trading simple market structure. Breakout, pull back, trend, breakout, pull back, trend, breakout, and so on. So when I zoom out like this on my 1 hour time frame and I'm looking for these first green day and first red day signals, I'm just looking for them at the high of the week. All right. And I want to see sellers being faked out at the high of the week or buyers being faked out at the low of the week. And I want to see a close and breakout the day before. And then I want to see my trade the next day. All right. And I'll keep trading in that direction until I get an opposing signal. And that's how I do my first red days and first green days. All right. So I hope you guys understood this. It's really simple. The more you do it, guys, the more it'll start to click. I don't expect you to understand everything that I'm talking about. So that's why I have offered one-on-one sessions. They are open and available. I start actually doing my one-on-one sessions in January. So you can go ahead and book now, or you can go to my Discord. My Discord is free. And you are able to chat with people, bounce ideas off of people. I'll be in there answering questions, sending motivation. So feel free to join my Discord and sign up for my one-on-ones so we can go ahead and turn 2026 around, guys. So I hope you like this video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.